it's working. I don't see the little notification that normally says we're going live.
I guess I should keep leaning in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's working. Hey everybody, it's Hamilton Perkins here. This is Danny Rubin, and just going to do another session here. We want to really dive into Danny's book here. And
where did it go?
Yeah.
Here it is.
Wait, how do I write this email? And you'll find the link. It's in the caption, so you can check this book out. But just so thankful to have you here today, Danny, and just want to, just kind of talk about how you got started writing. Like, when was the first time you knew that you wanted to write?
Well, I think I've always liked to write. Even as a kid, I have a newspaper clipping of an article I wrote for a local, like, Kempsville area magazine when I was like maybe 12. I've always known I like to write. It always kind of followed me throughout whatever I was doing, high school, college, post-college. I've always worked in communications since college. I'm 32 now, so 10 years in the communications field as a TV news reporter, as a media researcher, now doing PR. So I've always been sort of true to what I'm most into. I never ran away from it. And I made a decision maybe in my mid to late 20s to say, I think I'm a pretty decent writer. How good could I really be? And I'm not writing novels. I'm not writing poetry. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm the most colorful writer you're ever going to find. Sure, I can step up my vocabulary if I need to, but what I really am most interested in is helping people write in the business world, write in a way that's professional yet comfortable, natural, authentic, letting your true voice come through on the page in a variety of situations, looking for jobs, in jobs. How we write can dictate how far we can go in our careers, the opportunities that are available to us. If it's us, you versus 500 other people for a job or an opportunity or a grant or a promotion, whatever, how you write on the page can often determine whether or not you get that second look or you get that opportunity or you win that particular challenge. So our words are everything, and I, through a process of starting a blog, blogging a lot, looking at the audience, looking at the landscape, who is consuming my content, came to understand that there's a lot of people out there who struggle with their writing skills in America and abroad, and there weren't a lot of resources for people to find that really help them address that need right there. How do I write these particular situations for job search and growing my business? There's a lot of literature about sort of theory about what it means to be a leader, to be a great job applicant, to network. There's plenty of it out there on the internet about sort of why you should network, why you should be on LinkedIn, why you should be a great job applicant. But there was not a lot about, well, what does it look like in practice? I looked at a lot of business books out there, scanned the landscape, and I said, nobody's done a book like I'm going to do mine. Everybody's zigged, and I'm going to zag. And that's where I think opportunity lies. So I created a book of 100 templates for networking, the job search, and LinkedIn. Just nuts and bolts. This is your subject line. This is the body. This is how you sign off. This is how you write a thank you note. This is how you describe yourself on LinkedIn.
Very practical.
Super practical. It's a product that was not on the market. I believe it has huge opportunity in a variety of audiences, from teens through seniors. And while that's a broad audience, the offering is very niche. It's very focused on one thing, and that's writing skills. And if it applies to a lot of people, that's great. I'm not trying to do everything for everybody. I'm trying to help them with this one thing. And that's also really key.
Can you take me back, because I know we were talking about blogging and content. Can you take me back to like the first pieces of content you created on a blog?
Yeah.
Like, how did your writing process from there, how did that evolve into like you writing a whole book like on that content?
So when I first started blogging, this was in summer of 2012, I really had my idea, which is still sort of central to what I do on my blog, is I take the news of the day and I show you the career advice or sort of life advice hidden in the news. You know, what's the lesson going on in the stories that we read? But my focus was not very clear. I was doing some stuff on careers sometimes, trying to also make the political process simple for people who don't follow politics a lot. I was doing some finance stuff sometimes, maybe some health stuff, productivity. I really didn't have a focus. The only thing I thought was, let's just use the news to be practical. But the key is, I just kept going. I was writing mostly for myself. The audience was small. The traffic was low. But I really wanted to keep writing, keep improving on my own skills. And I just kept going. And for no other reason than just keep doing it. I enjoyed it. I wasn't getting paid, but I liked it. And I thought I was providing a value, at least to my friends. But the beauty of it is, the further along I went, the more clarity I found. Because I always tracked my traffic, Google Analytics. Google Analytics, everybody needs to have that turned on to their website, because if you don't, you're in the dark and you don't know who's reading or what they care about. And I wrote a post probably over 3 years ago now. I thought it'd be cool to do a collection of email templates. I think it was called 5 templates for tricky job situations. And I just thought it'd be a cool idea. I don't even remember how I thought to do it, but I wrote it. I put it out on Facebook. You know, it had its moment in the sun, and then it went away into my archives. But a couple of months later, I checked my stats, and I saw that I had web traffic to that post every day, a couple hundred, and I wasn't promoting it. It made me think, like, what's going on? And I realized people were Googling that topic and finding me. So that was the absolute light bulb moment that I started to realize the service I could provide that met the greatest need. So I started to do exclusively writing guides, for cover letters, LinkedIn profiles, resumes, networking situations, thank you notes, and my traffic grew. And now the most read stuff on my site are all writing guides. The other 100 plus things I had written are sitting at the bottom somewhere. They mattered to get me where I was going, but they didn't have as much value. So I reached a point where I had over 1 million views to these posts over a course of maybe 1.5 years, 2 years, and all organic search traffic. No money. Just, it was a good answer to a problem. On several searches, I was the number 1 or 2 search across Google for like LinkedIn profiles or particular job search emails. I mean, I was really at the top of the list. So I said, well, my answer must be the best. Google wouldn't put me there. That's how it goes. So then I felt like I need to take this information and make a book out of it. And that's how also I will help to continue to develop my own brand. Once you write a book, then you really get taken more seriously. Anybody can blog, but a book is a different element, a different level of commitment, and it helps with everything. Booking, speaking event gigs, and selling a product, and showing people that you're as legit as you claim to be. So that's a whole different discussion about what it took to make this book happen. But 1.5 years later, I made it, and I've spent the past 9 months or so learning the game of promoting a book and marketing a book. I think I've created, it's as much a book for out in the real world as it is a classroom resource. So I have opportunities in lots of different directions. The high school level, college, adult learning, workforce development, ESL, prisons, and then just generally being out there as a cool resource for young professionals or anybody back into the job market who hasn't touched their stuff in a long time.
It's very timely.
It's incredibly wide open for me, the audience is, because I know there's no competition. So my challenge, like yours and many others, is just awareness, and then trying to get the book to the right people who can make decisions that impact large groups of other people. And that's really been my challenge.
Because I know you have this PR foundation. Is there anyone, if anyone, that's on your advisory team or board, like somebody that you go to? Do you have people that you sort of look up to as mentors, either near or distant, that you can kind of, either find, value from what they do?
Yes, I've created a nice network of people in mostly in the book publishing space, who continue to guide me along through this world, because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. But by that I mean everything is new. I'm learning how this game works.
That's how it works.
But I don't fully understand this broader, getting outside of Hampton Roads, getting out to the country, the world. Book publishing, book marketing, book distribution is all new to me. And every step is one I've never taken. So I do have people in my corner who I can return to and say, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? What's my next move? I have a distributor now that is shopping the book to various retailers and big box stores and bookstores. And I found that person, that distributor, by going back to one of my mentors who helped me. She runs the company that helped me design and produce this book. And she gave me some direction on how to go pursue different distributors who might work with me as a single title self-published author, which is like, nobody wants to deal with you unless you're coming from a large publishing house or you have lots of titles. So she helped me navigate my way and find that person. That's opened up doors that'll hopefully get the book into some stores in the next 6 to 12 months. So I have other people I've met along the way. I try really hard, if I meet you, I really try hard to maintain that relationship. It's a two-way street. I give as much as I can, and I show how much I appreciate people's willingness to help me. I know we're all very busy with our own lives, and it's a lot easier just to bear down and not want to help other people. So when I find people who are willing to help me, huge. I had a phone call just yesterday with a woman who is a real expert in the adult learning space nationwide. It's a really tough nut to crack. It's very scattered. It's not a lot of sort of top-down, large organizations sending resources down. Excuse me. So she's helping me to understand different organizations, who I should be talking to, where I should be spending my time. For her to spend that time with me as she was driving on a vacation to Maine, she didn't have to.
Definitely.
But I showed a genuine interest in having her help me and how much I'd value it. And so she took 45 minutes of her time to talk to me. The conversation is going to help me in a lot of ways. So,
what's your opinion on writing versus selling your product and specifically your book? I mean, does the selling process start, once the book's already done, or is it soliciting almost feedback along the way so that you've already got sort of some type of distribution set up? I've always been fascinated about kind of book selling, because it seems like you can create something and then you can go out and try to get it sold, or you could even try to take early indicators about it or indication of interest about it, and then you can kind of create it as you go. So I don't know, how do you think about like distribution?
As I was writing this book, I said to myself, look, if I'm going to spend this much time and money to produce a book, it's got to be the best damn book ever that I could have ever done. It cannot be an average product at the end.
You gotta pour everything into it.
Because this is it, right? This is like the moment. Take all this knowledge in my brain, boil it down, and hand somebody in a book form. It's gotta be the right product at the right time for the right audience. So I asked tons of people along the way for feedback, ideas to include, templates that they struggle with. I had several people read it for clarity, comprehension, and for typos. So my focus, and I was trying to build relationships along the way. Some people, in the end, they weren't the right folks to be sort of chasing down, and my approach has become sharper since the book's been out. But I was doing my best to try to gain awareness as it was coming out. I didn't have a huge media tour. This is just the game that I'm playing. Like, I wasn't out on like national morning shows. I think I could or should be. This is a product that parents would buy for their kids who are getting out of college, like in a heartbeat, because I've already seen it at a local level. But I didn't have that type of opportunity. I didn't have the budget to start running around spending a ton of money. I just really focused my attention, and I was really careful. And I think this is important too. I didn't rush anything. I said, if it takes another week or two to fix this one thing, take those 2 weeks. Do not cut corners. It's going to burn you in the end. Do not rush through this. Take the time to read that page an extra 2 times in case you missed something. I said this to myself. I really had to stop myself because I'm obviously very eager to share what I think is a good idea with the quote unquote world. But I had to always pull myself back and say, don't skip this. I would go to FedEx up the street and I printed out probably 5 different manuscripts of just computer paper. As before the book was put into this form, it was just hundreds of pages of just computer paper, and I'd go sit with it and I would go through it and I'd red pen it, and I saved all those because I think that was such a huge part of this is the different iterations. In fact, you're looking at this book now in this format. This version right here is the 22nd version of the book, and this is actually a second edition now because I made some updates. But this second edition, which is now sort of I think the book in its fullest form, really with everything I needed it to be, 22nd version. And I think that's really important to understand. I started with a round ball of clay, and now I think it is the book in full, the idea in full. And it took a long time to get it there. But if we think about the course of a career, or hopefully this is a product that's used for a long time, it's worth the extra week or 2 weeks to say, I got to get it just right. You can't go back. Once it's in somebody's hands, you can't have glaring mistakes or some huge thing you wish you had done differently. You got to do it right now. And I know you've been through a million iterations too with your product, and that process was just painstaking, painful at times, but necessary.
And what do you think about social media right now in the book space? I mean, I'm seeing a lot with, Facebook, of course, is still a really good place. Facebook Live, Instagram, Pinterest, Medium. What are some of your favorite apps that, either you use or that, have just helped you kind of get the word out and spread the word about your book?
Well, I was saying to you before, I think I want to take better advantage of social media tools. I want to explore Facebook Live more and have more of a connection with the audience, especially because the posts themselves don't reach everybody as readily as this conversation probably does. I have an app that I love called Cam Scanner. It seems kind of dry, but it tells me I can scan documents from my phone, which saves a lot of time.
Utility, yeah.
Totally. I'm a really practical person, probably to a fault, but that's why I made this book. I mean, I'm all about the practical. I can't handle somebody standing in front of a room and just lecturing with theory. It drives me nuts. I'm let's just get to the work. We got to do the work, right? So the stuff that I generally use, apps on my phone, I mean, MailChimp, I have that app because I want to know throughout the day how my newsletters are doing and how they're being engaged with. Obviously, Twitter, I'm using that on my phone a lot. Facebook, Cam Scanner. I really don't play many games anymore. I used to play games on my phone. Honestly, I'm not saying I'm too good for it. I'm just doing a lot. And if I have free time, I'm so focused on what I'm doing right now that if I have an extra 20 minutes somewhere, I'm doing work. And people sometimes ask me what was your process for writing this? How did you write it? I'm I didn't set aside time Sunday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. That's my writing time. That's when Danny's going to go do his writing. I write all the time.
Do you really?
If I'm sitting on my couch and some show is boring, I put it on mute and I write for 20 minutes. If my son falls asleep at 8 and I have time between 8 and 9 to do some work, I'm going to do some work. If it's 6 a.m. and I wake up on a Saturday morning and I can't fall asleep, I'm getting my laptop and I'm doing work. I'm writing all the time. I'm working on this all the time. I'm working on a second book right now, which will complement this one, which is the other side of the coin, a bunch of writing guides for small business owners, press releases, website content, outreach emails for relationship building, all this stuff. It's just the other piece of what I've done here. So I cover sort of both worlds where writing is a necessary part of doing business. So if I have time, I'm going to write a chapter out of that book, which is so much easier to write that second one after I've done this first one. I can't even tell you because I worked out all the kinks. but it still takes time to just sit there and like focus and say, I got to make this page awesome. This next page got to be just as awesome, you know? But I have so much work that I could do that it's never ending. So why would I take 30 minutes and play a game if my end game is to be successful? Why would I want to delay that any further? Certainly I have free time. I watch TV. I go to the movies. I'm not saying I never do that, but it's those little moments in the day. I think that's what makes the difference. You could spend 3 hours during the course of a day doing nothing, or 3 hours being crazy productive. And when I feel like I'm done for the day, like my brain is spent, then I'm gonna go and just check out for a little while. I'll watch a baseball game. I'll go to whatever. But in those little moments, there's so much time in the day. I don't like when people tell me, like, I'll try to get a phone call with somebody, and they're like, oh, I'll be free like in 3 weeks. I'm like, get out of here. If you can't find 15 minutes in a day, don't lie to me.
It's broken.
You're the way you approach your day, like, I can always find, if I wanted to, I can find 20 minutes. You know, it's a mindset about using these moments kind of within the day when things stop. I mean, everyone's busy, everyone's got work going on, but no one is so busy that they literally don't stop for 24 hours a day. Like, we all take breaks. We all have like moments where we're like on Facebook, or like the work is crazy and then you're waiting on somebody to get back to you and you're just sitting there.
That viral kitten video or something.
Don't tell me that there's a part of the day where you're not just sitting there. Because everyone has those moments. Of course, we're human beings. So I just try to, if I find myself just sitting idly by, I'm like, wait, let me go write a little chapter of this book right now. Or let me go work on my, let me do that. Let me call this guy. Let me do this. Let me do that. It's just a hustle. And if you were a fly on the wall, you'd see me in here just like zipping around. But that's how I think things got to get done. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait 10 years for something to materialize. I want to do it yesterday. I know you feel the same.
What steps do you think in the book world, what do you think the direction of it is? I mean, I think our bet for, making bags, making fashion products, the biggest bet is that social responsibility will start to matter more. It has a certain amount of awareness right now. We've got amazing things that, kind of happen, these moments, but it's not mainstream. Is there anything like that in the book world where you start to see, whether it's partnering more with nonprofit organizations, or a percentage of proceeds going to certain causes, or even just writing content about those types of initiatives? Do you see like a future, like a change or shift in book writing and book publishing?
Look, I don't know enough about book publishing to say that it's becoming more sustainable to print books. I don't know. I'm probably not helping the environment if I sell 1 million books, but you know what? Sell 1 million books.
But you might spark or inspire someone.
I would certainly hope that the way that the process is being done is done sustainably, and if there's ways for me to pursue that as I learn more, I'd want to. When I think of social responsibility, I think of two other things. It's separate from the environment. Not to discount the environment, that's a huge part of this game, but I look at writing skills as an equalizer. You talk about bias, discrimination in the hiring process, and how contracts may be awarded. However, there's biases throughout our culture. Race, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, all of that, right? But when you write well, I think it can eliminate those biases in people's minds. Because if you write better than somebody else and you can convey your message better, you're a stronger candidate, applicant, whatever the case. And I love the fact that writing skills can sort of bring us all back to this equal playing field. I really do believe that. People can make inferences on someone's name, where they might come from, what they're worth, and their perception of somebody. But if you write well, to me it goes out the window. And I love that. And I love being able to teach that to people, rich, poor, white, black, speak English, don't speak English. I just think it's an awesome thing to be able to help people with. And I have pursued in small ways, and as this grows, I want to do it more, is to pursue ways to give portions of proceeds of book sales to organizations that help people either, purchasing clothes to look good for interviews, or groups that help people to land jobs. I am still in pursuit of good partners where I could give back, because I know that's a huge part of it, and I want that to be part of it. I'm not there yet. And nobody's really gonna jump on board yet till they see that this is something really worth doing. But that's definitely on my mind, and I want to make this a socially responsible project and product, and I want to give back as much as I get. And so that's on the horizon too. I'm as soon as it feels like the right time to go out and make those things happen, I'm going to start pursuing them.
And I know we talked a little bit, and we're going to start wrapping up.
Sure.
I know we talked a little bit about niche groups and like the effectiveness of, finding that local meetup or finding that group that you work well with. Can you talk a little bit about how that's been helpful for you?
Yeah.
And, maybe, some last words on anybody that's thinking about writing a book, or anyone
Sure.
that wants to even just get better at writing in general? What would you tell them?
I would say that one of the best decisions I've made over this past year is to join associations that are relevant to my industry and my field right now. So I've joined different career development organizations, and I was telling you briefly, one group that's I think could have a huge opportunity for me. There's an independent book publishing association. They're based in California, and they help represent and work with independent authors around the country. And they go every year to this massive book fair in Frankfurt, Germany, the largest in the world. And they have a booth, and they will allow you as a member to display your book in their booth. And they have regular meetings that are set sort of year after year with foreign rights buyers, people who are looking for American titles that could be republished in other countries. And so they are going to take my book this October to Frankfurt. It was a nominal fee, really affordable for this service, I think. They're going to take it over there, and we've discussed the book and how best to discuss it. And they're going to have meetings with people around the world, and they're going to show it off. What comes of it, I don't know. But the fact is, by joining that association, it gave me the opportunity. If I never joined, I would never know. And it was a low-cost investment for an annual membership. It was under $100. And it opens up doors like that. So I think for anybody out there, whatever space you're in, you need to understand it from the inside out. Get on newsletters, get magazines, get on the e-newsletter list, fully understand the world you're in. Because until you do, you're in the dark, and you could be doing effort in the wrong direction. And to answer your last thing about writing a book, the best thing I can tell you in 30 seconds is, if you have a blog, which you shouldn't even think about writing a book till you already have a blog where you're writing regularly. I would take whatever book you want to write, the how to do this, how to do that, whatever you're the expert on, make a table of contents on your own, like in a Word doc, okay? Just a big list of topics, and then write each one as a blog post over the next 8 to 12 months. And then when you're done, you'll look up and you'll have written a ton of content on your blog that'll help you with web traffic, and you will have written your manuscript. That's the most efficient way, and if somebody had told me that 3 years ago, I would have probably already had it done. I had to find that out for myself. But write your blog like a table of contents. That's how your book comes together, and it's less stressful that way because you're just writing it as you go, and you're not having to try to do it all at one time.
Make a deadline.
Yeah, you're writing like once a week or twice if you can fit it, and over 6 to 12 months you're going to write your book. And then the next process is to turn it into an actual book with a nice cover and everything, but just what matters is the content. I mean, this book is 53,000 words, something like that. The one I'm doing now is going to be about 50,000 too. That's a ton of stuff. But the only way I was able to do it is over a long period of time, where I was just writing as I went, and the content just sort of built up. I didn't try to say you got to do it all, this month or in 6 months. And now my website's full of good stuff too, and that helps me to promote my brand. So write your table of contents, fill it out on a blog, and that becomes your book.
Pearls of wisdom, Danny. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.